So welcome to the presentation. Sorry about the hiccups here on the technical side, but we are talking today about how to introduce disability insurance without killing the sale. You can go ahead and advance the next screen, Chris. My name is Chad Strano, and I'm the brokerage manager here at Penny Insurance, and I'll be hosting you today as we go through the rest of this presentation and covering a disability. My contact information is on there, email, my direct line to reach me, my office line is on there. So please, anybody on this call after the webinar, if you have any questions that still remain or have anything you want to talk through, please reach out to me. Would love to meet each and every one of you when the time is convenient. We'll start with some facts and stats. Disability insurance facts and stats. Approximately 1 in 4 adults in the U.S. live with a disability. Women are more likely to have a disability than men. That was interesting for me to learn. Disability prevalence increases with age. The employment rate for people with disabilities is significantly lower than for those without disabilities at around 22.7% versus 65.5% in 2004. Eligibility is strict through SSDI and claims take time. SSDI benefits can leave a large income gap. You can go ahead, Chris. Okay, why disability insurance belongs in the discussion. Disability insurance protects the client's most valuable asset, and that's their ability to earn income. When you position it this way, it stops feeling like an optional product and becomes a foundational part of financial planning. A concise way to frame it early in the presentation. Everything we're planning, retirement, savings, lifestyle, depends on your income continuing. Disability insurance is what keeps that plan alive if life throws a curveball. The key to introducing a disability insurance without killing the sale is to shift the conversation from fear to empowerment, while positioning yourself as a trusted advisor, not a policy peddler. Here's how top performing brokers do it today. Lead with protection, not fear. Avoid starting with worst case scenarios like, what if you couldn't work for 6 months? That approach can create discomfort and resistance. Instead, frame it around control and security. You've worked hard to build your lifestyle. Let's make sure your income is protected, just like your other assets. This emphasizes continuity rather than catastrophe. When you talk about DI in the context of protecting what they built, clients feel responsible and not scared. Focus on empowerment. Shift your language to highlight resilience rather than loss. For instance, here's a fear-based phrase. If you get hurt, versus an empowerment-based phrase. If life takes an unexpected turn. Another one is losing your income. An empowerment-based phrase would be protecting your ability to earn. Lastly, a financial hardship. Choose financial resilience and continuity. Just a little spin on the way we phrase the statements we're making can make a difference in the presentation. Clients respond better when they feel like they're making a smart, proactive choice and not preparing for disaster. Use personalization and gratitude. Sales leaders at DI Services highlight that a personal touch builds trust and loyalty. Something as old-fashioned as a handwritten thank you note after a meeting makes a lasting impression. Shows that you value the relationship, not just the premium. Clients remember how you made them feel appreciated and not pressured. Position it as a smart financial strategy. This is very important. Frame DI as part of their total financial plan, not a standalone product. You might say something like, my goal is to make sure every part of your financial life is protected, not just your investments, but the income that funds them. This turns DI into a natural strategic discussion rather than an interruption. Where to start? No better place than starting with existing clients. You are 3 times more likely to sell to somebody you already serve. And I'm sure many of you that are listening already have books of business and plenty of clients that you can reach out to open these conversations. Start with clients who are professionals, executives, or small business owners, groups who depend heavily on their ability to earn an income. Keep it visual and simple. Use short visuals or examples showing income protection in action. Like what happens to a paycheck if they can't work for 3 months? Simplicity prevents overwhelm and helps them picture the benefit clearly. Okay, how DI supports personal financial planning. Here's a short, natural client introduction script that opens the door to disability insurance without feeling salesy or fear-driven. Okay, this is from the advisor. Most of what we've talked about today protects what you own, your house, your car, your investments. But the one thing that funds all of this is your income. That's really your most valuable asset. So part of my job is making sure that income stays secure no matter what life throws at you. There are simple ways to protect it, kind of like income insurance that can keep everything else you've built running smoothly. Would it be okay if I showed you what that looks like for someone in your situation? It usually takes about a minute. Pretty simple lead in. Why it works starts with value, protecting what they already care about. It's no fear language. It's positive, professional, and calm. It invites permission. You're asking, not pushing. That's very important takeaway right there is it invites permission. I use that in almost all of my presentations to a degree, 1 degree or another. Keeps it short so momentum in the meeting continues. Now here I've put together 3 versions of the disability introduction adapted for different client types. First example would be for a physician, the advisor. You spent years building your career and reputation. Your ability to work is your most valuable asset. Most doctors protect their homes, cars, malpractice exposure, but they forget the one thing that funds it all, their income. There are strategies that let you protect your income just like any other professional asset. It's pretty straightforward. Would you like me to show you a quick example of how that could work for somebody in your specialty? Great way to leave it with an open-ended question. Why it works honors their professionalism and investment in training, frames DI as asset protection, not just income replacement. All right, let's take a look at another example for a small business owner this time. Advisor, you've built something that doesn't just support you, it supports your whole team. If something happened that stopped you from working for a while, the business could feel that impact fast. We can set things up so your income and your company's stability are protected, even if you're sidelined for a bit. Want me to show you how we usually do that for business owners like you? Another open-ended question. Why it works appeals to responsibility and leadership, reinforces the idea that protection extends to staff and continuity. And lastly, a third example for a W-2 professional, such as an engineer, manager, or executive. Advisor, you've worked hard to reach this point in your career. Most people protect their house and car, but not the paycheck that pays for everything else. There's a simple way to make sure your income keeps coming in, even if you can't work temporarily. It's not complicated. Can I walk you through what that might look like for your role and why it works? Uses relatable examples, house and car, emphasizes simplicity and practicality. Some of our top carriers here at Penny that we have available, Surety, Mass Mutual, Principal, and Peterson. And I'll go into a little bit more on those carriers in the coming slide. This kind of breaks down the carriers and what they cover. So I'll just kind of go from top to bottom to give you an overview here. Surety at the top, its forte is blue, gray collar. Short-term disability, long-term disability, graded benefit disability, business overhead expense. Mass Mutual, focusing more on white collar, long-term disability, business overhead expense. Buy, sell, or buy out, key person, business loan protection, and executive carve-out. Principal, white collar also, long-term disability, business overhead expense, buy and sell, or buy out, key person, business loan protection, executive carve out. Peterson for impaired risk, specialty cases. Meritos, long-term disability. Something to think about also are your clients' business owners. Business buy, sell, disability. What if one of your clients' business partners becomes disabled? Find out how buy, sell, disability insurance can help. Overhead. If your client's disabled, who pays the equipment leases, rent, and employee salaries while they're out of work? That's a big question. Sole proprietors with employees are especially vulnerable. Get the details at the link above. I think that should have been removed from the slide. Apologize. Key employee. Let's say your client's best employee becomes permanently disabled. What happens to the business your client worked so hard to build? Help them protect what they've built with key employee disability insurance. Just some closing thoughts, establishing the need. We showed a few ways during the presentation to do that. Share real life stories. We all have them. I had a family member recently that was put on disability, and it was not the easiest process in the world. And having something like this separately would have made a huge impact if that would have been taken care of. So share real life stories when you have them. Most of us do. Targeting the right prospects. We kind of outlined what some of those look like in the prior slides. Cross-selling. I know that almost everybody listening here on this call is familiar with that and is part of their day-to-day routine with your existing clientele and your books of business. I'm sure you have several people with inside of those that you could reach out to and start these conversations with. Cultivating your centers of influence, very important as well. Bottom line, have the conversation, make it a habit, work it into your routine. It takes time if you're not used to doing it. I know when I was out in the field, primarily, it took me a while to work this conversation into my regular life insurance presentation, but over time I got pretty good of when to enter into that conversation, and it paid a lot of dividends. This is the part here at the end where I'll just open it up for questions. Once again, there's my contact information there too. If you want to take that down and reach out to me after this call, I would love the opportunity to speak with each and every one of you that took the time to listen today.
So we have a few questions that came in. The first question is, how do you create urgency around DI without sounding too salesy? That's a good question.
Well, how do you create urgency? That's a great question. I think the urgency is really already there. If they already have, if they already have assets or a business that's already active and flourishing and they don't have any protection in place to protect it, that urgency is there every day they wake up in the morning, because a disability is often something that you never see coming. It's a little different than a sickness. A sickness, a lot of times there's signs in the beginning and you can see it progressing. A disability can come out of nowhere. My wife had a disability and she was 100% healthy at one moment, and then the next day things changed. So that urgency is there. It's really about the agent bringing that to the attention of the client, and then having that discussion.
And the next question, what's your go-to closing question for DI?
I think the go-to closing questions is, what kind of preparations have you made if your income stops for an extended period of time? Is there money in reserves that you set aside to sustain you through a long-term disability? I like to ask that question because more often than not, usually the answer is no, and they haven't put anything away in reserves to address that. And that's when I say, well, that's easily taken care of. And I can show you a way to do that today very economically.
And the next question, ooh, this is a great one, especially
Yeah.
on the objection side. How do you deal with a maybe later decision?
Well, there's always the maybe laters. I love that objection. It's going to be in every single product we offer in the insurance world. There's always a maybe later, because that's just them not really feeling comfortable yet and wanting to move things forward. So wanting to think about it's great. What I usually say is, you know what? It's great that you're thinking about it. Okay. And while you're thinking about it, let's get an application put together and find out first if we can get the coverage put in place. And while we're doing all that, you'll have plenty of time to think this through. We can even get back together a second time and go back over all the details again. And I can come back to you with some real answers on the application and whether or not you've been covered or not. And oftentimes when I spin it that way, it'll get them to say, okay, yeah, I'm okay to move forward with the application now. Um, that has worked for me in the past, not just with disability, but with other products too.
And the next question, does disability have to be from an accident or can it be a sickness?
Well, that's a good question. That's more of an underwriting question that I would like to get a little bit better answer to that question on. So if Chris, if you could take down who this particular agent is, I'll reach out to them and do some due
Sure.
diligence. Um, I have a feeling the answer is yes, if that illness leads to you not being able to complete the normal duties of the job function you're trained to do. But I want to be sure on that. So I will do some research with our in-house underwriter and get a better answer for you there.
Cool. And how can a team assist agents?
Oh yeah, like I was talking about at the beginning, our A team is there to help support everybody on this call and their clients, um, by taking the ball. Once the sale is made, hand it off to our A team. Once that gets into the system, they take it every step of the way from there. They complete the application for you. They push it through, get all the signatures required from the client. If there's any kind of requirements that come up, and there often are, the A team's on top of all those, and getting all those green check marks checked off so that you can get that policy issued in a timely manner, the coverage placed for your client, and getting paid commissions for the agent. Um, Take advantage of that resource that we have available here at Penny. It is surely something that I wished I had had when I got into the business almost 20 years ago. As we all know, as agents on this call, we're so busy, and the last thing we need is to be spending hours tracking down underwriters and following up on requirements and doing all that legwork. Let a team shoulder some of that burden for you all so that you can continue to go out and meet with your clients.
And I know we have some new people that joined. I was wondering if you could talk about the educational webinar series that we have.
Yes, that's great. This is part of that series, and that's a series that we do every Thursday at 12 for the most part, right, Chris?
Yep.
And the topics vary from week to week. We have several different of our managers over here hosting those on a regular basis. So please connect with us so we can get you on the list to make sure that you're invited to every single one of those. So you know what the upcoming topics were. We even have a place that, and Chris, maybe you can guide them to that where they can see all the prior webinars we've done in the past and easily access and consume those.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll definitely share that.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a way to stay locked in step with us on a weekly basis and stay locked into the products we're going over and reviewing.
Any closing thoughts, Chad? And thanks so much, by the way.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Closing thoughts is just I'm very grateful for you all to spend a brief period of time with me on this webinar today. I would love to find a way to work with each and every one of you. Please feel free after this at your convenience to reach out to me and set up a time where we can just chat, get to know a little bit about each other. I could maybe find out a little bit about what you guys do, and I can share with you all how I can best help to grow your businesses and make things smoother for you.
All right. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, everybody. Guys, have a great rest of your Thursday.